Today we're looking at Karma: The Dark World. This game is a first-person cinematic psychological thriller with some light horror elements thrown in, all set in a dystopian take on 1980s East Germany. In this world, the Leviathan Company is present in every aspect of daily life, probably not too far off how we live now if one megacorp owned everything going on in your town. No spoilers here, and let me tell you, even if I wanted to spoil this one, I'd be hard-pressed to do it without an hour-long story breakdown. From the moment you wake up in this world, you're met with questions of how this came to be, what's at play behind closed doors, who's pulling the strings, and exactly who are you, and where do you fit in this world? I will say now, out of transparency, I don't generally play horror or narrative-focused games. I'm usually more of a gameplay-first type of gamer, so I may not do the genre justice in this video, but if you like me, I can tell you to leave those feelings at the door. Karma: The Dark World has convinced me that I need to pay closer attention to games of this style. Starting off, what really drew me to Karma was its incredible visuals. They're using Unreal Engine 5 here and really are doing their best to make use of the Lumen and Nanite systems we've seen shown off for years now. Karma retains a very solid artistic style throughout, combining really interesting dystopian environments, whether it be office spaces, homes, streets, and they contrast this beautifully with the more surreal, mind-bending environments you're seeing shown off here, and often, they're really well combined. One moment you'll be in an office, turn to walk through the door you just left, and find yourself in what could really be described as another world. Boasting these incredible visuals, a detailed and complex game world, and even more complex narrative, Karma never bored me. I found it took me an hour or so to truly become immersed in the world. With such a surreal game that has you questioning reality from the start, it did take some time for me to really find my feet in this space, which I wouldn't say is a criticism, but something to consider. But I'll say once I was immersed, I didn't want to stop. Overall, it took me 7 hours to complete the game, which I felt was just about right for the experience provided, although I think the story would have benefited from another hour or so of just fleshing it out. Other estimates I've seen say the game lasts 8 to 10 hours, so your time may vary slightly, and most of this comes down to how long you spend solving puzzles, and how long you spend in each environment, either exploring for clues or just honestly taking it in, because some of these environments are absolutely stunning, mind-bending, or a combo of both. Which brings us to the gameplay. One of the user tags on Steam is Walking Simulator, and I don't think that's a bad description. The vast majority of gameplay in Karma is walking through these surreal and dystopian environments, finding your way from point A to point B, solving puzzles, avoiding horrors, and generally consuming the narrative. The game is focused around the central theme of understanding your character, the motives of those you interact with, and trying to uncover the mysteries hidden everywhere. What I appreciated most here is that the gameplay and narrative elements merged seamlessly. They're both present and support each other. Solving puzzles and searching environments for story clues is your main gameplay loop. You'll enter an area, complete some tasks like replacing a fuse or finding a password. You'll also find some notes that reveal larger story points and move to the next. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's what you should expect from this genre. Karma isn't great because of its gameplay, and it's not trying to be either. It is great because of its narrative, and the gameplay is there to support that. And it's moving through these environments that I found so thrilling. It might sound corny, yeah, but from large open spaces with strange monuments to claustrophobic hallways, the moment-to-moment movement and action always felt purposeful. I was chasing the story thread from start to finish. Without spoilers, the story of Karma is told to you via in-game cutscenes, in-character exploration of the world itself, and through finding environmental clues, which could be anything from written reports, through to simply seeing how the world functions. Who has what role, and how does society function here? What's pushing people to their limit, and how are they rewarded or punished? And to this, the highlight for me was truly the voice acting. It is incredible, and there were a number of standout performances that for me really sold me on the experience. I can't stress enough the range of the main protagonist. I heard genuine fear, confusion, frustration, and sadness in his voice throughout. Even the supporting cast provide a strong performance, and it was in the first act that I knew I was going to be making this video, purely based on that performance. And this is needed for the success of the experience. The amount of interaction you have with the world is limited, but meaningful when it does take place. You'll never be walking long without being pulled into a cutscene, conversation, or gameplay loop, and I found the ebb and flow of controlling my character before relinquishing this for cutscenes to feed perfectly into my experience. If I had some criticisms, you really do need to pay close attention during your playthrough. Some of the reviews I've seen from others talk about the story being incoherent to them, and I can see why that might be the case. I streamed my entire playthrough here on YouTube and Twitch, and was lucky enough to be raided at close of the game by another streamer. They stated that they only really understood about 85% of the story, and I would say I'm in the same boat, but I don't think that's necessarily bad. By pulling you from point to point, mixing both surreal and dystopian art styles, and frequently moving between them, it can be easy to lose certain story beats, or miss out on a crucial bit of information that helps tie them together. But if you're playing this game, you really should be taking that time to search, to explore, and investigate, because that is the core experience. To wrap this up, I will contradict myself somewhat. While I do understand the criticism that the narrative can be a tangled web, it was the process of untangling this throughout the entire game that kept me on the edge of my seat, sometimes literally. It truly felt like an unraveling of ideas as I progressed, and while you enter the world feeling confused, the game gives you all the information you need to decipher it. And I felt the payoff was absolutely present by the end as all the pieces fell into place. Karma the Dark World is a masterpiece in visual storytelling, but it won't appeal to everyone. It is 8 to 10 hours of walking, listening, and watching. If that's not for you, I get it, and I would tell you to pass on this one, if all this has sounded boring. But if you like a good story, psychological thriller, particularly a mystery or investigative style game, then this has a lot to offer. But those are just my views. Let me know in the comments, is this a play or a pass for you? And if you've played it, what would you say to others? As always, thanks for checking out the video, guys. If you liked it, throw a like on the video, sub if you want to see more, but you being here, that's what really matters. You can also catch me every Tuesday and Thursday, streaming right here on YouTube and Twitch, 4 PM Australian Western Standard Time. Until then, thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.